Everyone, and welcome back to the Misfits Racing League Season 2 action. It's round 13 for Tier 1, the Bahrain Grand Prix. Joining me as always, Mikal. How you doing, Mikal?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic, Strifium. I'm really looking forward to this one. We hopefully we'll see a lot of great battles, side by side action, and some great overtakes as well. Bahrain, one of the easiest circuits to overtake on, so hopefully we'll see a lot of jostling for position.
For sure, for sure. 3 DRS zones, one on that main pit straight there, then coming out of turn 3 in sector 1, as well as coming out of turn 10 in sector 2, and then surprisingly enough, coming out of turn 13, that massive long straight there, but no DRS through there. The engines are going to have to do all the work. Of course, now taking a look at where we are today in the calendar, it's round 13, the Bahrain Grand Prix. Next week, we'll see our drivers in Azerbaijan for the Baku City Circuit race. Of course, Australia, round 15, Mexico, round 16, and to finish things off in Suzuka for the finale, round 17. But, of course, it's been a very long journey. As you say, a story has been told throughout this season here. Our racers began the journey in Abu Dhabi for round 1, and they made their way through Canada, France, Austria, Spain, Russia, Brazil, of course, Germany, Silverstone over for the British Grand Prix for round 9, and at the Temple of Speed for round 10, the Italian Grand Prix. We've seen some fantastic wheel-to-wheel racing action here so far in Season 2. But let's take a look at who's been doing the racing. Zamajo and Rackety over at Ferrari, Skybits and Shenjay over at Haas, Falcon 9 and Luchtra taking up their seats over at Renault, Fubar and Custom. Fubar, who joined me earlier for the Tier 2 cast. Very nice to have him in the booth. Of course, Zamis and Undertaker over at Alfa Romeo with Bois and Jasko taking up the 2 cars over at Red Bull. Neon Rays has decided to take a step out of the league for the remainder of the season. Perhaps we'll see him next season for F1 2020, but filling that gap is going to be former Tier 2 Racing Championship leader Aphrodite, coming out of that Haas car and jumping into a Williams here for Tier 1. So congratulations to you on the promotion and welcome to Tier 1 Aphrodite. Yoda and John taking up their seats over at McLaren BTFU and Young IP at Toro Rosso. I don't know if Young IP is going to be joining us for the race today, but Bear Gaming and Tipaka, of course, the full-time drivers listed over there for Racing Point. Now, of course, our favorite time of the pre-race introduction, Mikal, it's the standings. Zamajo currently out in front with that nice sizable gap, 234 points for the Croatian Ferrari driver. Yoda behind him in second with 135 points. And that's Zamis there in third, 88 points. And right behind him, BTFU with 87. With Falcon 9 with his 66 points, tied with Neon Rays, rounding off the top 5. Shenjay, Henry, Rackety, and Fubar, of course, rounding off the top 10. Fubar with 31 points finishes out that top 10 slot. Custom, 22 points. Skybits, 20 points. Jasko, Bois, and Fusions, all presently tied with 18 points in the battle for 13th. Undertaker, 17 points in 16th there. Little Bear, 14 points. John, 13. Luchtra, 12. And Young IP, the only driver here on the grid so far who is scoreless. Fantastic stuff from all of these guys. It looks like there's an error. I think Jasko actually has 19 points, excuse me, so he isn't in that tie. But with that being said, of course, it will be corrected regardless of the race outcome anyway. Constructor standings, Ferrari out in front, 287 points. McLaren in P2. And Haas in third, 114 points, tied with Alfa Romeo. Toro Rosso, though, right there to pick up any scraps they may leave behind. 113 points for them. Williams very close in the championship as well. 111 points for them. And I assume with Aphrodite's addition to the team, they'll hopefully be able to collect just a few more. Red Bull, 103 points. Renault in 8th with 98. Mercedes in 9th. And Racing Point at the back in 10th with 58 points. I do believe with that, we are going to be getting ready to go here in just a few short moments as we get our wonderful background music dialed down and jump on into this lobby. Fantastic stuff heading into this race, Mikal. What do you think of these standings?
Well, they're as tight as ever. I do believe that if all goes well for Zamajo, he could clinch the title in this race. My maths is correct, although it might not be. But that is something to keep an eye on for Samajo, esteemed race winner in uh, this season. And I do believe the drivers are sorting out their preferred tire allocation. And as expected, in the desert, in the Gulf, it is dry under the lights in Sakir, Bahrain this evening.
No surprises for these drivers as far as the weather's concerned, and I'm sure they're all going to be happy about that. Of course, a lot of the races that we've recently had, definitely that threat of rain, throwing a little bit of that confidence heading into the race out of whack, considering it is a roll of the dice. They have no kind of forecast to go by. It's a spur-of-the-moment decision, of course, by the gods that are the Codemasters game developer. And, of course, those gods like to throw a few curveballs our way every now and then. First driver out of the pits, I do believe that's Bois in the Red Bull, who we saw make his debut last week, I do believe, in Hungary. What a fantastic race we had for the Tier 1 drivers in Hungary as well. He is coming out on the soft compound tires there, Mikau. How are you feeling about tires here in Bahrain today? We saw some very interesting strategies in Tier 2 earlier.
Oh, well, the softs tend to not really last that long. You can only really get about 6 laps out of them before they really fall off the cliff. But for those first couple laps, you will have significantly more grip compared to those on the mediums and the hards. But other than that, I wouldn't really personally be touching them, but maybe Rackety, Bois, and some of the other drivers on these soft compound tires have an alternate strategy up their sleeve. Perhaps they're looking to do the two-stop, but that's up to them to decide, and we'll find out very shortly.
Yeah, as some of our MRL statisticians in the chat of the stream, of course, updating me, it was Bois that had made his debut in Spa earlier this season with Luktra, taking his full-time seat last week in Hungary. And now today we have Aphrodite over at Williams, and we've got a retirement from Falcon in the pits, serving a qualification ban, if I'm not mistaken, Mikau.
That would be correct. Unfortunately, got too many warnings for instance, resetting the track, all that kind of stuff. So he will be starting from the back of the grid this race. Fortunately for him, though, probably one of the best tracks to be starting at the back from. Lots of overtaking opportunities, as I do believe we have some drivers starting their laps with him.
Now, I was just taking a look at Bois there. He didn't really have that much energy deployment coming out of turn 3. I'm not too sure if he's actually looking to set a time on those soft compound tires. So I'm going to jump on over to the Mercedes of Custom, as I do believe he will be the next driver to cross the line here, as Bois has pulled off to the side.
So
Coming
he set
through.
a 28.5 sector, so it looks to be a fairly solid time. He makes his way through turn 11. Up the gears, up the hill, through the past the infamous turn 12. Avoiding that inside curbing. Saw a lot of incidents with our tier 2 guys with that curbing, catching out a lot of drivers. Let's see what the first time on the board is going to be. Custom heading through the final 2 corners now. On the power, hot lap mode engaged, DRS open. What is it going to be? It's going to be a 128.683. Oh, sorry, that was the wrong time. That was Lutra. Custom with the 29.6.
All these times now starting to ramp up on the timing tower there. 5 drivers to set laps so far, and it's Zamajo in the Ferrari. Surprise, surprise, here on the hards, out in front. 128.2. Looking to maintain that dominating front position in the standings, and like you said, possibly clinch the driving title today for Zamajo. His teammate Rackety on the soft compound tires coming in behind him, a 128.3. looking to secure some solid track position there for the Scuderia, Mikhail.
Oh yes, most definitely. Very representative of the real life Grand Prix that was held last year. Of course, Sebastian Vettel and Charles Leclerc going very, very well until they each had their respective issues. But we're not here to talk about that, Strifian. We're here to see some tight wheel-to-wheel racing on the Codemasters game, as I believe Jasko comes across the line for 130.9. Currently in P11 on those soft compound tires, so he'll be looking to improve off that.
We have the Toro Rosso reserve of S. King filling in for Young IP today. Currently on a flying lap. We'll see how he goes on the hard compound tires, making his way down through Sector 2 now.
On the brakes, he makes his way through turn 8. Seems to be a very, very tidy lap so far. Heading down into turns 9 and 10. Manages to get the car turned around. That's very good for the Toro Rosso driver. 100-meter board. Into turn 11 we go, up the hill. Avoiding that inside curbing, very nice to see. It looks like he's set to do a fairly solid lap here. I haven't seen too many mistakes from the Toro Rosso. Through the final 2 corners now, we'll see what the time is going to be as he crosses the line. DRS open. And it's going to be a 128.7, so that'll put him in P5.
Very nice from the reserve.
That's a very solid lap time.
A lot of drivers now heading out on outlaps. You can see Bois, BTF, Skybits, Fusions, as well as Astrolite all out on outlaps now. Fubar flying down into turn 1, starting his flying lap for this session. Not leaving it to the one-shot qualification that we've seen him do throughout this season, but there we go. He's invalidated it on the inside curbing of turn 3. Very unfortunate for the German driver. Bois has begun his flying lap now as he's heading up into turn 4 for Red Bull. And he's invalidated it on the outside curb of turn 5.
Yeah, Bahrain not typically a circuit where we see a lot of track limit penalties. However, it is possible, especially if you just push a bit too hard through the first few turns as well as at the top of the hill.
Now Astrolite,
5, 6,
the
and 7.
debut Williams driver, Mikhail, on that outlap on the medium compound tires, looking to set his first time on those. We'll have to see how he goes in comparison to some of these Tier 1 drivers. Of course, Astrolite being one of our frequent podium finishers in the Tier 2 division before his promotion to Williams.
All of his following the Toro Rosso of BTFU around the circuit. They're both doing fast laps, so might see a bit of a toe, but I don't think he's quite close enough to really benefit that much from it. Astro, and it looks like BTFU has backed out of it. To go behind the new Williams driver as Zamajo comes across the line to set provisional pole. A 127.942 on those hard compound tires. Very impressive time from the Ferrari driver. Still looking at Astrolite as he makes his way through Sector 2. Up the hills, catching a bit of traffic. Looks like Yoda's getting well out of the way of that. Astrolite getting some very nice rotation out of that Williams. He makes his way into the penultimate couple of corners. He gets the power down, that fuel light's flashing. DRS is going to open, overtake mode engaged. What's it going to be? It's going to be a 28.5 510. So that'll put him in P4 at the moment. But I dare say some of those drivers behind him looking to improve Strickland.
Most definitely looking to improve. And speaking of improvements, we have Fusions in the Racing Point crossing the line now on the soft compound tire. He sets a 127.9, Mikhail. Could we see him going for the soft, medium two-stop strategy here?
No, it's certainly a possibility. And if you are nice to your tires, you can make a soft hard work. But you will definitely be risking punctures towards the end of the race, or end of each stint, I should say.
No,
Nevertheless, it's a very solid time and positioning from Fusions, so I think he should be quite happy with that.
BTFU now, currently one of the last drivers to set a time here in qualification. I do believe we're seeing him on a flyer now making his way through turn 11. Very careful here to avoid this inside turn 12 curbing there. We were talking about that just a few moments ago. Of course, Tier 2 saw their fair share of that curbing. I think most notably one of the race leaders, Jay, meeting his demise on that turn 12 curbing after an unexpected race control directive to concede a position after some kind of illegal overtake. But yeah, turn 12 curbing, definitely one of those curbs you want to avoid as BTFU crosses the line of 129.2 on the hards. Things on the grid right now, Mikhail, the difference is extremely tight. You can see there the gap to leader from 11th is less than a second on this grid right now. And not even everybody has gotten their best laps in just yet.
Yeah, as we are on board with BTFU, Zamis came across the line to set a 127.9 on the medium compound tires, currently in third position, only behind Zamajo and Fusions.
King in the Toro Rosso on a flyer now with the medium compound tires, making his way through turn 4.
Dave right on board with him as he makes his way through 5, 6, and 7, keeping it nice and tight. Gets a little bit unstable on the curbing, but he manages to catch it well.
Set a purple sector 1 through there as well.
That might be a visual glitch on your end, but nevertheless, we'll press on as he heads through turn 10. DRS open for the back straight. Looking to spot that braking point just after the 100-meter board. Down to fourth gear as he makes his way through turn 11. And now into turn 12. Keep it, his foot pinned down to that throttle. He is 7/10 up on his time, Strifium.
It's looking good for sure.
Yeah, hopefully we can see him break into the 27s, but it depends how this final sector goes. As it goes through the penultimate corner. And heading across the line right now, and he goes provisional pole with a 127.8.
Very nice. Very nice from King for sure, taking that provisional pole. On the medium compound tires, a lot of drivers not setting times on the medium compound tire just yet. 4.5 minutes remaining here in qualification. Zamajo, a 127.9 on the hards. We'll see if he's going to come out to try and improve that time on a different compound tire.
I don't think he'll just let the new guy, King, just sit there with the pole position. It's like, nah, know your place, buddy. I'm the big man in town.
So. Jasko currently running. I don't know if he's on a flyer of any kind at the moment. Not too much action going on out on circuit at the moment. Bois on an outlap, rounding turn 4. Everybody's in the pits, and what is it you call this period of qualifying, Mikhail?
That's the calm before the storm. Seeing all the drivers just take a bit of a breather before they all go out on circuit all at once to get their final run in. Of course, track evolution going to play quite a bit of a role actually around the secure circuit. Typically it has the least amount of grip because you're on those harder compound tires. So all these drivers probably just looking to get the best of the track conditions, Stryfium, before they set their final and hopefully their best laps of the session.
Bois now weaving a little bit on that back straight into the penultimate turn here. Now rounding that final turn. I can never remember if that final section of circuit is 2 turns or not, because there is that little kink off to the left there. But Bois down into turn 1 on those mediums.
Yep, opts to go down to first gear. Quickly up through the gears as he makes his way up the hill towards turn 4. Revving the car out in 7th. Able to get some decent rotation as Aphrodite leaves the session, so hopefully he's able to rejoin before the start of the race. Bois using first gear to get that extra rotation through turn 8. He makes his way down to the difficult 9-10 complex. Does well not to lock that front left tire. And gets quite a good bit of traction. So he makes his way out of turn 10 into turn 11 we go. Quickly to third gear. Oh, he gets a bit of a wobble. So that might cost him a little bit. He's still 5/10 down in his hard banker time. So this is looking to be a solid lap. Makes his way down the long sector 3 straight. Spotting that braking marker for the final 2 turns. As he opens up the DRS, crosses the line, and it will take provisional pole with a 1:27.768. That is the time to beat for the drivers remaining on the circuit.
Very good job from Bois there on the mediums. Of course, now on board with Undertaker in the Alfa Romeo, currently running in 14th with a 129.1, making his way through turn 4 now, Mikhail. Hopefully he's able to improve here. He's up 2/10 through sector 1.
Yeah, looks to be a fairly solid lap so far. Hopefully he's able to find a bit more improvement in the final 2 sectors of the circuit, opting for first gear at turn 10. Getting a tiny bit of oversteer, but looks like he corrected it well. Very high on the rev limiter, I must say. Nevertheless, up through turns 11 and 12, keeping it nice and flat. He's now only a 10th up on his current time. As Chenje goes across the line for 1:27.3 as the checkered flag drops. So all those currently out on the lap will be able to complete it, but no other driver will be able to start it. As Undertaker comes across the line, and he does improve, but not enough to jump custom.
Bit of an improvement from Jean there as well as he crosses the line to finish out his qualification session. I'm going to jump on board now with Zamajo in the Ferrari. One of our championship points contenders, you know, not just any points contender, but the championship points leader and driver number 1 for the Scuderia, Mr. Zamajo, crossing the line now. That's pole position for the Ferrari squad, a 1:26.981 on the medium compound tires. The only driver here in the session to set a sub 1:27 time thus far. Chenje looks as though he is not going to have another lap to string together here. King on the mediums rounding the final few corners now. In P4 at the moment, a 1:27.8 the time. Is he going to be able to improve? He's looking like it. And he jumps ahead of Zamajo, a 1:26.735 on the soft compound tires. Very quick from the Toro Rosso driver.
And as Shenji pulls into the pits, that is everyone done. So that is your grid ahead of the Bahrain Grand Prix for MRL Season 2, Round 13.
King on pole position. Zamajo lines up next to him. Shenji in third. Bois fourth. Jasko fifth. Fusions in sixth. Zama seventh. Luktra eighth. Custom in ninth. Rackety in 10th. And then we have BTFU in 11th. Yoda in 12th, and we will get to the rest of the grid in just a few moments there, but that's Zamajo on screen now, not coming across on pole position after King swipes it with a soft compound last-minute lap. And there you have it, folks. The grid once again, you can see there Yoda in 12th, Astrodite in 13th, Henners in 14th, Fubar 15th, John 16th, Undertaker 17th, Skybits 18th, Little Bear in 19th, and Falcon serving out his qualification ban at the back of the grid. But just one more time, that's King on pole position with Zamajo in second and Shenji in third, rounding off the provisional podium positions to begin this race. Very interesting tire strategy options. A lot of people on softs, Mikhail. And it looks like we've had a disconnect on my end, at the very least, from Steam. So hopefully I can get that back under control. I'm not sure if it happened on your end as well, Mikhail. But
No, I'm still in the lobby. We have an even split in the top 10, so do believe we have 5 drivers opting for that soft compound, and the other 5 are opting for the mediums. So it'll be quite interesting to see how that goes ahead. But the countdown has started, and I think Samajo might have actually had an issue as well. I'm not entirely sure. I don't see his name on the timing list, but hopefully he can get back in.
fortunately on my end, we had that disconnection issue out of the blue. Session timer is currently locked in here as the formation lap's about to get started, and there's no Zamajo on the grid. As the formation lap begins here, I don't know if he's going to be able to get back in, Mikhail.
Alright, looks like the Ferrari team have pulled his car out. So that is extremely unfortunate for the Ferrari driver. I don't know if he'll be seeing a restart for him, but it doesn't quite look like it.
My mistake, I'm not entirely 100% up to date on what the policy is there due to a disconnect of that level. It does happen quite frequently due to the unfortunate instability of the Codemasters Formula One 2019 game. It has happened to a few drivers over the course of this season, and we have not seen restarts. So if I'm not mistaken, Mikhail, we are not going to see a restart, which is most definitely unfortunate for the Croatian championship leader, as this will give some of those other runners a very significant opportunity to catch up to him throughout the standings. King leading the formation lap now for Toro Rosso, making his debut as a reserve driver today in Tier 1. Shenji will be following him and lining up next to him on the line for P2.
So it looks like Undertaker and Bear are opting for the soft compound tires down in 17th and 19th position. So obviously, if you start outside the top 10, you do get free choice tire. So it looks like they'll be opting for that 2-stop strategy, trying to make up some early positions. As I said before, we have King, Jasko, Fusions, Custom, and Rackety all within the top 10, starting on the softs, and the remaining 4 now, I guess, with the unfortunate disconnect from Zamajo on the medium compound tires, as it looks like the grid is forming up, ready to start this race.
Shenji, Bois, and Zamis with Lutra in the mix as well. all in very good position. BTFU, Yoda on those mediums as well now, as things are about to get set and underway here in Bahrain for round 13 of the Misfits Racing League Season 2. My name is Trifium. Joining me as always is Mikal. And I've been thrown into spectator mode apparently, which was, of course, going to be assumed. I think that was as a result of Zamajo disconnecting, but it is lights out here, Mikal, and we are off racing. Down into turn 1 we go. Big move out from the Red Bull of, I want to say, Bois and Jasko now through into turn 1.
Looks like
a lot of
Lutra
wheel-to-wheel action.
Getting a bit prepared for the start, and that's Lutra off into the sand. So he's got off to a horrible start here, all the way down to 19th place. And King using those soft tires.
Big spin there. That's Zamis. That is Zamis.
Well.
Looks like he may have gotten tapped or something there. We'll have to take a look at the front wing. No damage on the front wing there. May have cooked it out of the turn. Not too sure if any contact played a role there, but King, Shenjie, and Bois are your race leaders at the moment, first through third. A lot of wheel-to-wheel action now. As you can see, Jasko very close to the rear of Fusions, and the gaps on this grid are extremely intense. Custom runs wide. Yoda and him exchanging positions. Falcon's in the mix, and Falcon started in 20th. He's up into 8th now already, Mikal. Down into turn 11 he goes.
What's a quali ban?
What's a quali ban to Falcon for sure. Jasko and Fusion's fighting down into turn 13 now. Things were getting a little hairy up in turn 11 there. You can see Jasko looking to maintain a solid position behind the rear of that Racing Point, who went wide just a little bit there. Jasko down the inside of Fusions, isn't quite able to make it work, but he does, as Fusions catches a little bit too much of the outside there. Now Henry's having a look. He's wheel-to-wheel with Fusions as well, trying to catch up to the Red Bull of Jasko down into turn 1. It's an absolute drag race for these guys with Henry on the medium compound tires. Down the inside, is he able to get it done on Jasko? Jasko and Henry now wheel-to-wheel. You can see Fusions trying to keep up with the Williams of Henry on those mediums, and Henry looking absolutely rapid with those tires. On the inside of Jasko now. Is he going to be able to make the move stick in turn 4? He has the inside line, and they are absolutely battling for that 4th position right now. Jasko back out in front for Red Bull. Fusions trying to stick with them. Rackety's having a look now. He gets things slowed down. Now he's on the outside of Fusions. Is he going to be able to make a move here? He looks inside now. Gets on the brakes. Fusions goes really deep into turn 10, Mikal, and he's going to lose out to the Ferrari. Has a big slip of the rear there, trying to get that car back under control on circuit, and Custom and Falcon have passed him into 8th and 7th respectively now as well. Yoda on the medium compound tires coming through turn 11 now. Fusions has just been absolutely feeling those softs early here in this race. Yoda now in 10th on the mediums, in a very good position to strike. Zamis in 17th right now, not having the start to this race he wanted, losing it out of turn 4 there. King setting the fastest lap of this race so far, 131.8. And King is in a very good position to start to derail some of these championship points leaders. Now Yoda in the slipstream of Fusions, coming down into the first turn. He's sending it down the inside early on the brakes though. Fusions didn't pull off too far to the outside. Yoda not wanting to take any risks there. Very patient driving from the McLaren. Bois now in the fight for position 2 within half a second of Shenjie. It's the Red Bull versus the Haas coming through Sector 2. And we've had another swap of positions as Henry gets out in front of Jasko in the Red Bull. That's Rackety now along the outside of Jasko. Is he going to be able to make something happen coming down through turn 9? Doesn't look like it, but turn 10 is a completely different story, Mikal.
Yeah, just going back to that incident with Fusions, he looks like he's lost quite a bit of that front wing. He just missed his braking point going to turn 1 and just slammed into the rear of, I think it was Henry at that point. And yeah, just going all out of shape. And he's really holding up the guys behind, but that is great news for the little battle for 4th place at the moment.
There's a massive train formed behind Henry now, as Jasko, Rackety, Custom, and Falcon all within close proximity. DRS is going to be enabled for these drivers throughout this pit straight. Very eager to see what kind of speed we'll get out of the Red Bull and Ferrari on those soft compound tires. Mikhail Rackety staying quite close to the rear of Jasko. Jasko looking inside Henry now. He jumps back onto the outside line, decides not to go for a move there. Gonna wait to die another day is the Red Bull trying to make that move. We have Rackety now and Falcon.
Like Jasko's trying to look up on the inside of Henry. Trying to get all the grip he can with those soft compound towers. We will definitely start to be feeling the wear at this point. You just see the lack of stability from that Red Bull as Henry's medium is starting to get into quite the optimal window. And I do believe they'll start to be the same for Rackety and Falcon right behind them. But as I say that, Rackety's gotten a great run out of turn 10. Pulls up to the outside. And that is job done for the Ferrari. Now up into 5th place.
Very nice from him for sure. He took advantage on those softs of Jasko. Very eager to see when the soft runners in this race so far do decide to pit. And we've had another shuffle of positions there. It looks like there's more fighting going on between BTFU and John right now through turn 13. That's the Haas of Skybits up the inside of Fusions. Big collision here in turn 13. That's Skybits into the wall here. Yellow flags in sector 3. He was getting into a little bit of a wheel-to-wheel action move with that racing point, and it just did not pay off. He caught a little bit of the tire well, and unfortunately got flung into the wall there. Rackety and Jasko now in turn 1 and 2, battling it out. Falcon looking as well.
Make it 3 wide. Looks like Rackety's gotten past the Red Bull and Falcon up the inside as well. So Jasko trying to hang it around the outside. Falcon leaves in room. It looks like the Red Bull will get past as they head into turn 5.
Custom is on those soft compound tires as well, showing fantastic speed. He almost taps Falcon in the rear there. Just a hair separating that front wing of the Mercedes in the rear of that Renault. And we have turn 10 now. Everyone's going to have DRS coming out of here. Rackety out in front in 5th right now, not within DRS of the Williams Henry. And this is some fantastic wheel-to-wheel action we're seeing here early in this race between these drivers. Falcon is on those mediums, of course, the only one in this train at the moment on those harder compound tires, and he is showing fantastic traction here through sector 3, Mikhail. Custom falling back behind him now. We'll see who the first of these drivers is going to be as far as blinking into the pits. Looks like Jasko is diving in, and he is the first into the pits now, and the roller coaster of pit stops for these soft drivers has begun. Falcon in 6th, Custom very tight to the rear of the Renault, moving through turn 2 and 3 now. We've had another exchange of positions. Yoda and Astrodate are exchanging positions now. Yoda in 9th with the DRS behind the rear of the other Williams. Astrodate in 8th. Astrodate goes a little bit wide there. Yoda looking to capitalize, gains a massive amount of momentum.
Also a battle going on behind them. Battle for 12th place at the moment as Fusion's soft compound tires starting to go off. I do imagine the same will be going for the other soft compound runners towards the front of the field.
King leading this race right now in the Toro Rosso on the 5-lap old softs. When he crosses the line, if he crosses the line on those tires, they will turn 6 laps old, of course. Are we going to see our race leader dive into the pits? That is the question as we round the final few turns of the lap. And it looks like he's staying out. Rackety, another soft runner in the top 10 right now. Crossing through those final few turns. We'll have to look and see if he jumps in. He stays out as well now. So Custom, the last of the top 10 drivers, also opting to stay out here. So they're stretching those softs a little bit further than what I would personally do for sure. Of course, I'm very hard on tires, as you know, Mick. But Rackety and Falcon wheel to wheel through turn 2 now. And Fusion's taken a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane to go and get off of his soft compound tires. That's Rackety on the outside of Falcon now down into turn 4. Is he going to get the move done? He had a great carry of speed there on the softs, but the traction for Falcon is proving to be a little too much for the Ferrari driver right now, Mikkel. And Custom isn't quite within range to make a move happen. And there's a tap from the rear of, the front of the Mercedes Custom into the rear of the Ferrari there. He's now taken a little bit of damage on the front left wing of that Mercedes, and I'm afraid to say that may have been a result of lack of traction on those tires, Mikkel. He may not have just been able to get that car slowed down enough there. Not too sure what happened there. Perhaps just misjudged the braking with the compounded tires he's got on right now. BTFU and Astrolite battling now wheel to wheel up through turn 11 into 12 we go. Astrolite on that inside curbing being very, very gentle there, Mikkel. He almost lost it. You saw that car. He had to lift on the throttle. BTFU gets the move done, and now King, the race leader, has dived into the pits for new tires.
Yeah, while that whole battle was going on, Bois was slowly but surely catching that back to Chenjay in the Haas. Now the race leader using that DRS, but he's just not quite getting close enough to really have a solid go at it. Let's have a look at Rackety now. Going into the same spot. However, he opts to stay behind for another lap.
You know, Rackety is doing a fantastic job in that Ferrari right now on those soft tires. 7 laps on those tires, currently running on the 8th lap presently. That's quite the stretch on soft compound tires here in Bahrain. Hopefully he's able to keep it together throughout this lap. You can see a little bit of the wear on screen right now if you're with us in 1080p, as that front left tire just looks like it's got a massive blister in it. I don't know if I'm imagining things, but you can definitely tell there's something going on with the wear on these tires. Astrolite currently less than a second behind BTFU, and Yoda has dropped off just a little bit in that McLaren. His teammate not too far behind him, but the gaps on the grid right now have all brought themselves within at least a second, Mikkel. Very interesting race here so far in Bahrain.
Yeah, it's very nice to see all these very close gaps. Looks like Rackety does have the little green spanner, and as I say that, he does pull into the pits. So that will release the medium runners behind him. And Bois still sticking to the back of Chenjay up front.
Astrolite doing a good job of pulling out of DRS range of Yoda in that 7th position McLaren. Looks like we've had an overtake there. It's King, who's snuck past John into 8th position here. And there's
Astrolite fighting with BTFU manages to outbrake the Toro Rosso down the inside into turn 4, and he's gotten that move done. So now he is up into 5th place, trying to chase down the Renault of Falcon 9. We have a yellow flag in sector 2. That's King. He's gone off at the exit of turn 7. Not sure if that was down to contact or just a massive mistake, but he's missing that entire right side of his wing, so he'll definitely have to pit for now. That's very unfortunate for our previous race leader.
BTFU doing a good job here through turn 12 of sticking with Astrolite. Careful not to touch that inside curbing. Astrolite getting things slowed right down through 13. BTFU doing a good job of sticking with him. Yoda trying to push to gain some time behind these guys. 1.6 the gap for the McLaren. Bois is very close to Chenjay in a battle for this race leadership at the moment in that Red Bull. He's going to have DRS into turn 4.
He opts to stay behind for now. He's trying to conserve his battery, conserve his fuel. Because I can't really be doing his tires too much good. as King gets a 5-second penalty for speeding into the pits.
Oh, that situation just went from bad to worse there, as he took damage on that front wing, and then of course taking that 5-second speeding into the pit lane to go and change over that wing is not the situation I'm sure he wanted to have at all.
Looks like Falcon still sticking with the DRS of Henry. Doesn't quite have it for this small backstraight as the yellow flag instead to 1. And that's Fusion's off at the exit of turn 3. Trying to rejoin the track, but has to be careful of Skybits and King rounding around those 3 turns as we have a VSC deployed.
Talk about Falcon, by the way, currently within a second of Henry in 4th position. Falcon started this race at the absolute back of the grid in 19th position and has come all the way through into 4th.
The 2 leaders opting to pit under the virtual safety car. Shenjie will pick up a 5-second time penalty for speeding. So that's definitely not going to help him, as does Henry as well.
You hate to see it, Mick. You hate to see it.
It's very, very quick thinking on their part to pit under the virtual safety car. And Yoda has come in as well, picking up another, like, 5-second penalty.
BTFU and John. VSC conditions are offline as BTFU and John now are running 3rd and 4th respectively on those 10-lap old mediums. Going to be a very interesting situation for both of these drivers as they opted to not pit under the VSC.
Yeah, definitely going to be losing a lot of time due to that lapse of judgment. I think there was basically no reason to not pit under the virtual safety car.
Jasko wheel to wheel with Rackety now. He's looking for a space. There isn't much there. Rackety has gone on to another set of softs, Mikal.
Yep, so he's now committed to the 2-stop.
Ooh, big slide out from the rear of that Red Bull there on the mediums in turn 9.
He makes his way down to the turn 10, still within that DRS range. But those mistakes are definitely not going to help his case. Trying to catch or stay with the Ferrari of Rackety on those soft compound tires.
Little Bear currently running in P14. We have Zamis, who we saw lose out very early on here on those hard compound tires, now looking to stay within a reasonable space of that racing point. Keep that DRS, of course. Now Bois fighting with Shenjie for the race lead.
Which way is he going to go? He's going to go to the outside as there's a yellow flag in front of them. Don't know if that's going to be an illegal overtake there, but there's another virtual safety car, as I do believe that is Fusion's out of the race. Looks like he had a bit of a spin, battle style at turn 4, and he's lost one of his wheels.
Very unfortunate for him in the racing point. VSC conditions.
So we're back 3, opting to get off their current set of tires and put on those hards to hopefully go to the end of the race. You know, anything can happen. And as we've seen all throughout this season, it normally does, Striff.
"19 drivers began this race. 20 finished times in qualification. Zamajo, unfortunately, not with us in this race as a result of the instability of Codemasters. And now we have Bois behind Shenjie looking for a move as the VSC has gone offline. He is going to have DRS down into turn 1. Is he going to be able to make a move? Is he going to have the momentum out of that final turn? He has a fantastic carry of speed with the DRS over this Haas right now. He makes that move down the inside.
Side by side as they make their way into the braking zone. So Bois holds that inside line for now, but Shenjie with that DRS trying to come back it in up the hill in the turn 4. They're wheel to wheel Striffiums. They made their way through turn 4. It's like Boa's gonna just lose out on that one. Very close racing between our two race leaders at the moment.
Yeah,
As
well, this
behind them,
battle.
Falcon is also trying to make a move. Has a little peak going to turn 5, but thinks better of it and chooses to fight another day.
Ooh, with a really cheeky look down the inside at turn 9. Is he able to make it stick? He has a great exit here. He's getting out in front of Henry just a little bit here, down into turn 10. What's going to happen between these two drivers? That's Falcon on the outside. A little bit of a tap on the rear of the Williams. Henry gets out in front. Still very, very tight racing between those two. And while we were watching Chendré and Bois fight there, BTFU and Jean went into the pits there. You can see BTFU came out in 8th position, with Jean unfortunately losing out a little more so in 11th, as Falcon sticks with the Williams of Henry in that battle for the remaining podium position. Bois has fallen back behind Chendré. Once again, he doesn't have that same space between him and Chendré that he did the last time we saw him come down into turn 1. Of course, he was out in front of Chendré that time. Now he's actually dropped back behind the Haas driver.
Yeah, he does have quite a bit of battery to use, as Rackety setting the fastest lap of the race so far at 1:30.9. I know these drivers seem to be splitting off in pairs, Striffium, as it looks like Falcon's going to have another look at Henry for this 3rd position. Down the inside at turn 4 he goes. Oh, he gets a bit of a slip from the rear end, but he makes the move stick for now, so that Renault, all the way from 20th on the grid, is now up into the podium places.
Correct me if I'm wrong, and it could be too early to call this, but have we seen Falcon secure a podium finish yet here in MRL Season 2? I can't recall off the top of my head. Of course, it is round 13. We've had quite a few races now. Something interesting to take a look at, for sure, as he was one of the favorites heading into Season 2.
Yeah, of course, Falcon, a driver who's had a string of bad luck, either through mistakes of his own or just unfortunate circumstances, as Chenji will now take the fast lap so far. And as I say that, Falcon has a bit of a moment coming out of the last corner. So Henry will get past him with ease, and as you can see, that rear wing on the Williams is still open. That's because Henry was behind at the detection point just before the last 2 corners. But Falcon now will have the DRS and get some infinitely better run out of turn 3, heading up the hill, taking that inside line once again. But Henry isn't done yet. He tries to make the switchback work, but Falcon is just ahead as they head through the 5, 6, 7 complex.
Falcon did a very good job there. He pulled away from Henry quite quick. You can see Henry a little bit later on the brakes down into 9 there. Try to make up a little bit of that gap he lost going into the turn. Down through 10 now. Henry struggling a little bit more than Falcon there. Probably the most difficult turn of the circuit, at least from my perspective. Now Henry taking a lot of that outside curve into 11. Is he going to be able to make up some pace through 12 now? Carrying a lot of speed as the Williams driver. He's got to maintain that DRS in order to continue this fight, because Falcon is looking absolutely fantastic today in the Renault.
Also, if you're just joining us, you're watching MRL Season 2 Tier 1 Round 13, taking place at the Bahrain International Circuit in Sakir. So now watching the battle for 3rd place at the moment. Henry looking to go around the outside of Falcon. Falcon going defensive into the first few corners. But Henry getting a better run out of turn 3. They head their way up the hill. Henry now committing to the inside. And it looks like he'll get past, but Falcon with the switchback move. What great racing we're witnessing between these two drivers. Falcon able to stay ahead for another lap.
Looked like Henry caught a little bit of that inside curbing there, unsettling the car just a little bit, little bit of loss of traction, allowing Falcon to squeeze back ahead. But these two are absolutely battling it out here in Bahrain. Neither are giving each other any room to breathe. It's fantastic racing that we're seeing here. And now Yoda is very close to the rear of Custom. I'm going to switch on over here in the battle for 9th at the moment. You can see the McLaren driver is going to have the DRS on that Mercedes. The Mercedes not going to be as lucky as BTFU is quite far ahead of him at the moment. Yoda looking to be patient. Of course, Custom is on the 8-lap-old medium compound tires, and I do believe we're going to have to see him pit again. I don't think he's going to make it to the end on those at this point in time. So Yoda doing a good job of sticking with him. Henry with the DRS on Falcon carrying down through the pit straight now. Hopefully he's able to have a good run. He looks to the inside, sends it down into the first turn. Has a very, very difficult time slowing that car down as he runs deep, but he is going to stay with that Renault as Falcon now has DRS into turn 4. Hopefully Henry's able to catch him back up throughout this lap. He wants to make sure he has that DRS for the Sector 2 straight coming out of turn 10. Little Bear getting ahead of Rackety now getting ahead of Undertaker as he's gone into the pits. Lutra seems to have had an issue as he's retired the car. Not too sure what happened to him.
Yeah, I think he just went into the pits and retired. It's a shame. Lutra with such a strong qualifying, and then to have those incidents early in the race, putting him out of points contention. So he's decided to call it quits there, retire the car. But there's still a battle brewing between the front two at the moment.
Speaking of battles brewing, Rackety on Zamis up the inside into turn 11. Is he able to get it done? He hugs a lot of that inside curbing right now. This is absolutely chaotic racing from this Ferrari. He wants that position really bad, but Zamis able to keep things together, and there's a big slide out from the Ferrari. He's able to get things under control. King gets out in front of him into 13th now, and there was a bit of an issue with Little Bear as well, as it appears he took out one of the sponsorship signs on the inside of turn 13. And there is a massive battle unfolding here in the back now. Jasko into the pits. All of these drivers going to jump out in front of him. That's Little Bear into the pits now as well. It looks like he may have caught something on the exit of turn 12 there. Maybe hurt that front wing a little bit. Zamis and King now battling. That's King on the inside of Zamis through turn 1. Into turn 2, it's Zamis out in front, but King on the inside with the DRS. Now Rackety up the inside of Zamis with DRS. This is absolutely crazy racing. And now they're wheel to wheel, Rackety and King. King out in front of the Ferrari, and Zamis isn't finished with them. Zamis on the 9-lap-old hards, Rackety on the fresh mediums, looking very, very quick at the moment with 10 laps to go here in this race. He is going to be able to take those mediums to the end of this campaign, and from the speed we've seen, he's looking very fast. King on the 8-lap-old hards.
Yeah, those fresh mediums definitely providing the Ferrari with a lot more grip. You can sort of see how Zamis and King sort of struggling a little bit just to get the power down. Zamis more than King in that respect. Now fighting for that last points position. But
BTFU
pushing.
BTFU with an absolute carry of speed here on the Williams of Astrodate in the battle for 5th. He's going to have a much bigger gap heading down into turn 1. He gets things slowed down on that inside line. He gets out in front of that Williams here. Fantastic driving from the Toro Rosso. He's now up into 5th, but Astrodate isn't finished. He's going to have DRS into turn 4 here. He looks inside. He weaves back onto that optimal outside racing line, and BTFU has, for the time being, secured that 5th position. Back on over to Rackety and King. Rackety's gotten out in front of King, like you had said, in this battle for these final few points positions. And Custom is on those 11-lap-old mediums right now in 8th, within a second and a half of Yoda. I don't know what the situation is going to be for the Mercedes driver on those 11-lap-old mediums at this phase of the race, Mikal.
Yeah, the won't be holding up too well, I'd imagine. Starting to see quite a bit of wear, especially on that front left. You can just see the graining from these tires as they're coming to the end of their life. The Custom doing very well to stay with the McLaren in front.
Henry, who we saw last lap round, not able to stay within the DRS of Falcon, is back right in it with a big gain of pace down into turn 1 here on lap 20. DRS up through this straight into turn 4 here. It appears Mikal's had some technical difficulties on his session. You still there with us, Mikal? Looks like he may have suffered some kind of network issue, as I don't know if he's still with us here in the comms. But that is all right, as we have a fantastic battle going on right now between Henry and Falcon for that 3rd points position, and there's a ton of action back in the back of the grid. It is Little Bear fighting wheel to wheel with Undertaker in the battle for 15th position right now. Bit of a tap there from the Racing Point on the rear of that Alfa Romeo. Coming down into turn 9 now, up the gears we go. Ooh, big tap from Little Bear on the rear of Undertaker there, down into turn 9. They're off, and now it's Henry up the outside of Falcon. What a move from him, and he gets tapped in the rear from Falcon. Not too sure what happened between the Williams and Renault there, but Henry still fighting his way into those podium points. Bit of a tap there as the Williams on the rear of the Renault. Rackety in 10th, gaining on Jean as well. Sticking with Henry, though, through this battle for the front leadership positions. He's going to have the DRS. He's making that move down the outside right now. He has a fantastic line here. What's Falcon going to do about it? Not much. Coming through turn 12 now. Let's take a look at how things go. Henry doing a very good job outside of turn 13 there to get a fantastic exit. He's already pulled out 9/10 on Falcon. Falcon seems to have had some kind of connection problem, which explains why he's dropped back, and now he's going to go into the pits here. Oh, no. No, you hate to see it. Falcon, unfortunately, disconnecting from the session, and that AI that Codemasters has so kindly provided him has decided to ruin his race, if I do say so myself, and throw him into the pits for the soft compound tires. You hate to see it, folks. He was on for such a great result in that battle with Henry. Henry now comfortably in 3rd. 7.8 seconds is the gap behind him right now with 7 laps to go here. Rackety looking at King down into turn 4. He is on those much fresher tires. 5-lap-old mediums versus those 12-lap-old hards, and you can just see he has so much momentum, but he's got to keep an eye on that driver in front of him. He can't take too many risks here. Jean behind Rackety as well. Astrate in P5 right now, still within a second of BTFU in 4th. BTFU on the 9-lap-old hards, Astro on the 11-lap-old hards. And we have a retirement, and that's Little Bear deciding that he is finished here in this race. Problems with that car over at Racing Point. Both Racing Points now out of this race as he's retired the car in the pits. Rackety is losing time to King in front. Is he going to have DRS down the straight here? And he will not have the DRS. King sets the fastest lap here at 1:30.5 on the hards. As I'm being informed now that Rackety and the Ferrari garage are having issues with the DRS on the rear wing of that Ferrari. Jean in 10th position now. What a race we've had here so far in Bahrain. Astrate trying to stick with BTFU here. BTFU on the fresher tires. King on the 13-lap-old hards showing fantastic pace. He's gotten quite far out in front of the Ferrari Rackety. Touches a little bit of that inside curb here in turn 12. A lot of drivers tempting fate there on that turn. Astrate with a good run into turn 1 with the DRS, but it's not enough to make a move just yet on the Toro Rosso driver. King with DRS on Falcon now. He's looking inside, but there's no way he can make that move happen just yet. Definitely too much of a gap between this Toro Rosso and the Renault in front of him. Looks like we have a yellow flag in Sector 2. Now we have Bois. Sticking with Shenjie quite well here. Shenjie leading this race for quite some time now in that Haas. Bois has stuck with him the entire time, not giving Shenjie much of an opportunity to breathe. And speaking of Bois, he sets the fastest lap here, 1:30.4 so far. Lap 25 out of 29 on 14-lap-old hards. King still within half a second of Falcon in that fight for P7 right now. Falcon, of course, on the much quicker tire for the time being on those softs. I do believe those hards are going to be getting quite slippy for King by the end of the race as well. DRS will hopefully help him out. He has a good exit out of the final turn. DRS wide open now. Is he going to be able to make a move? He has a great carry of speed. He moves it to the inside. And it looks like they're going to trade positions for the time being. King into 7th position. Astrate still sticking with BTFU in the Williams. A lot of these drivers being quite patient with when they choose to overtake, which is very crucial. Falcon and King wheel to wheel once again through into turn 4. Falcon out in front now, and he takes the position back from King. Falcon into 7th position. King doing a very good job of sticking with Falcon here on these 15-lap old hards. He was at one point out in front of this race. DRS down into turn 1. I don't think it's going to be enough. The grid now has spaced itself out quite a bit. That's Custom on his teammate down into turn 1. Very good job from him on the fresh softs. Fubar not able to do much on the 14-lap old hards here. He is going to have DRS over his teammate. Not sure if he's going to make a move, though. He looks inside, but he stays with his teammate. Perhaps Toto Wolff getting on the horn and telling them to cut the crap. As Custom on the quicker tires at the moment. Bois now with DRS over Chenjay. Chenjay coming up on a back marker. No DRS just yet. That's Undertaker in 15th position in this battle for first place. Undertaker pulling off to the side there as a result of the blue flag being waved. Blue flag conditions, of course, requiring any slow-moving drivers to pull over for the race leaders or the fast movers. .3 now, the gap. DRS. I wish Cody's could give me some good camera angles for once. Bois making a fantastic maneuver here for the race leadership position in the Red Bull. Chenjay trying to stick with him, has the DRS. He looks to the outside. Is he going to be able to make a quick switchback? They're wheel to wheel. Chenjay almost gets tangled with Bois. Does a very good job of keeping his front right out of the center wheel well. DRS into turn 11, Chenjay. The battle for the race win, ladies and gentlemen, is going to go down to the wire, as Chenjay and Bois have been within close proximity for this entire race. And we have a retirement as Undertaker at turn 12, I do believe, has unfortunately crashed out of this race. And I do believe Henry will have a look as he comes up through turn 12 now. We'll see if Undertaker's car is unfortunately still off here, and I don't believe it is. The steward's doing a fantastic job of getting it off circuit quite quick. And Chenjay and Bois exchanging positions once again here on the final lap of this race. Chenjay is out in front, but Bois, ooh, he really pressures Chenjay. Chenjay goes super deep into turn 4. Bois has escaped with a massive lead over the Haas driver. Chenjay now needs to do a lot of hill climbing to catch up to the Red Bull, as Bois has forced him into a serious error there. You can see Fubar's had an accident coming out of turn 9. Looks like he might have cooked those tires. 16-lap old hards, of course. All of these drivers stretching their hards quite far, needing to be very careful not to get any punctures. But it's looking like Bois is going to win this race unless Shenjie can pull the rabbit out of the hat here in the final few turns of this race. Bois now rounding to turn 13. Shenjie doing everything he can to stick with him. I don't think it's going to be enough. Falcon in P8, very close to the rear of King at the moment on the 7-lap old soft compound tires. And Bois now crossing the line here in Bahrain as your race winner. Shenjie finishing the race in second position, and he takes a 5-second time penalty after not serving a penalty, I do believe, if that came up appropriately. Henry now coming down the back straight in the Williams is looking to finish here in third with a fantastic podium here. BTFU now crossing the line in fourth. Henry does a great job, but unfortunately, as a result of penalties, they've flipped positions. Astrodite finishes the race in fifth, a 4-5 for the Williams squad. Astrodite with a fantastic debut, finishing in fifth. Yoda coming across in sixth. And it looks like we've had some kind of bug, as a lot of these drivers take in 5-second penalties as they cross the line here, which will, of course, get sorted out post-race. But Bois, your race winner here in Bahrain. Shenjie in second. BTFU and Henry third and fourth. Of course, I do believe Stewart's going to have to take a look post-race at how things unfolded penalty-wise. But for the time being, that is going to be BTFU with the podium. But just as likely, it could most definitely be Henry in the Williams as well, having had such a long stretch ahead. Him and BTFU, I do believe BTFU 2 seconds behind the Williams driver when they crossed the line. But that was a fantastic race here for round 13 of MRL. Big congratulations to, of course, Bois on the race win. A very, very good drive from him, sticking with Shenjie throughout the entire race. Shenjie, unfortunately, near the end of that race, falling to the pressure of the Red Bull, diving deep down through into turn 4 there, allowing Bois to escape with a massive lead. And there are the penalties. And just before we go down the grid, I want to make sure we have a good look at the incidents that occurred throughout this race, because I have a feeling the stewards are most definitely going to be needing it. And as we can see here, a bunch of penalties being handed through, unserved time penalties down the line. Not too sure what those are for. Of course, Bois with the race win. Shenjie in second. BTFU takes the podium in third. Most drivers here on the grid today opting for the 1-stop. Of course, a few of them onto that 2-stop as well, as a result of collisions or whatnot, debris and damage that they suffered throughout the race. But Bois, your race winner, congratulations to the Red Bull. Shenjie in second, and BTFU back into some serious points is the Toro Rosso driver. And as a result of Zamajo not able to start this race due to the instability of our wonderful Formula 1 2019 game, BTFU is just that much closer to him in the standings, as is Yoda. But that is going to wrap it up here for Misfits Racing League Season 2, Round 13 action. I hope you all enjoyed the race. My name is Striffium. Joining me earlier on in this broadcast was, of course, Mikal, all the way from Australia. Unfortunately, network issues seemed to have cut his part in the broadcast to a unfortunate early end, but nevertheless, we had a fantastic race, and I hope you guys will be looking for the highlights on our YouTube channel. Of course, you can find that link down below. You can follow us on Twitter as well to get updated standings, circuit guide-throughs, new videos, and information on when those videos are released. And if you're looking for a fun racing community, or you want to be a part of the league, make sure you hit us up on Discord. And of course, last but not least, smash that follow button so that you can keep it right here every Thursday, 3 o'clock and 5 o'clock Central for Tier 2 and Tier 1 MRL racing action. I hope you guys all have a fantastic evening. Of course, stay tuned to that YouTube. Highlights and VODs will be up within the next couple of days. My name is Strifium. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you guys next Thursday for Azerbaijan Round 14. Thanks for watching, guys. We hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure you smash that like button to let us know, and of course, subscribe to the channel if you're interested in more great racing content. We are live on Twitch every week on twitch.tv Misfits Racing League. Hit us up in the description below for our Discord and Twitter links as well. Always looking to get connected on those, and if you're interested in joining the MRL, Discord is the place to be. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on our next video.